Hi, my name is Tyler and this is a presentation on my BUSN3600 trip to China. Starting off here in Beijing, we'll be looking at some of the intercultural differences between Australia and China. We'll also be looking at the lessons learned through our experiences in our industry visits and how that applies to my future moving back into Australia and my international business pathway. So come on, let's have a look at what we can learn. So as we walk around, we've started to understand the importance of collectivism to the Chinese people, and where in Australia we're very much for ourselves and our own personal gains. In China we're noticing that it's all for the community and for the good of the Chinese people and the nation, which is really interesting. We're about to jump on the subway, we're just getting ourselves immersed in the way that people get around the city. So taking a look at the way that the Chinese political system is structured, we're learning very much that society is centralised around the Communist Party and the way the Communist Party operates versus our Australian democratic system. Free will versus that of following the people's system.
Beijing was the gleaming example of a modern, prospering China that has cautiously opened itself up to the world. Our first visit was to Ozcham's Beijing office, where they elaborated on our shift into a two-way bilateral trade relationship with China. They advocate through forums on Australian education, products, services, and value-adding industries. Australia is China's second largest outgoing investment recipient, though China is 12th on Australia's recipient list. Nick, the CEO, identified supply chain and logistics as an industry we could definitely benefit from investing in.
Here we are, we're in the Australian Embassy here in Beijing. We're going to have a look at the Australian government's influences and interactions with the people and the government here in China. Let's have a look.
Lending to my ideal career path, I took from our experience at the Australian Embassy in Beijing a sense of opportunity, and through my conversations with Farah following our group meeting, I grasped a greater understanding of what DFAT's graduate program entails and how it's achievable for myself. The embassy is alive and growing its presence in Beijing and the Greater China with consulates around the country, and reinforces why I would love to enter a DFAT profession. Before we knew it, we boarded the bus and met the sweet Elaine.
Elaine, what means?
Who guided us through the Forbidden City and escorted us out to the Great Wall. Personally, the Great Wall was a highlight, and I saw it as representing the will and strength of the Chinese people, where no obstacle stands to obstruct the vision or progress of the people and nation.
1, 2, 3.
We then continued our journey, catching the high-speed train south to Rizhao in the Shandong province. This area was chosen for study due to its high consumption of Australian raw materials. We began our time here visiting Land Bridge, petrochemicals and port precinct. All our industry visits in Rizhao reinforced how enormous China's growing demand for raw materials is. China's continued growth and industrialization can be linked to the supply chain it maintains with raw material-rich nations. Thus, Australia, India, Brazil, and South Africa are all crucial to the prosperous development China is experiencing. An issue that first struck me in Rizhao was how confronting and debilitating smog and air pollution in the region can be. This raises a personal question as to whether Australia's emphasis on clean energy is followed through in the international use of our own raw materials. As guests of the local government, they hosted us and escorted us around a number of local manufacturers and ports, including Rizhao Steel, Shandong Steel, and the Rizhao Port.
We're in Rizhao Port in Shandong province. Established in 1982, it's a major coal and iron ore importer from Australia. So just now we're waiting on a ship to come in direct from Newcastle, bringing in 150,000 tonnes of Hunter Valley coal. We're at Rizhao Port's rehabilitation project, looking to create social and environmental gain for the people here in Rizhao. Started in February last year, it's looking to be completed by the end of 2018. I think it's ambitious, but if anyone will do it, it will be the Chinese.
Sitting at the edge of the Yellow Sea, we witnessed how China's manufacturing and energy boom is affecting its population. The city of Rizhao appearing far more developed than those we had passed on the train. The city itself has been managing a number of its own energy milestones, with 99% of households now using solar hot water and public lighting being generated via photovoltaic cells. Rizhao was well positioned to the One Belt One Road initiative, acting as the Chinese sea gateway to the east and a distribution and logistics hub for the west. Journeying south towards Shanghai, we witnessed the strength of Confucius and his impact on modern China by visiting his hometown of Qufu. Following an early morning arrival into Shanghai, we spent our rest day exploring the city. Those of us up early enough spent the day walking Nanjing and Walking Street, browsing shops before witnessing the marriage market in People's Park.
We found something a little bit primitive, more so than what we're used to. It's the marriage market. So we've got prospective parents trying to sell off their sons and daughters in a market setting within a park in the middle of the city. It's a little bit different.
As we made our way into the city, we visited the Bund before heading up the Shanghai Tower, the second tallest building in the world. We wrapped up the night with one of the most picturesque views I've ever seen from the summit of the Shanghai World Financial Center. No rest was achieved, though we did meet our immersion quota for the day. We all felt that Shanghai was different to the rest of China we had experienced. It was cosmopolitan, there was a greater sense of personal expression, and the city felt as though it had a strong connection to the outside Western world. Whilst in Shanghai, we visited Envision Energy and TES AMM. Envision have developed software to assist in optimizing smart grids, such as through the work they are doing with the Singaporean government. Envision works to ensure that energy produced is used as efficiently as possible. TES AMM operates in waste management, with its income based purely off a government allowance for recycling post-consumer waste. BUSN3600 has been an incredible experience that has clarified my understanding of China, providing reasoning that satisfies my understanding of China's interactions with Australia and justifying China's international actions. China imports coal that creates heavy pollution, but this provides energy to power homes and fuel industry, which makes up 25% of the global energy demand, all in one country. China's working conditions are far lower than the Western world, but this provides developed nations like Australia with the goods we demand at the lowest possible price. Chinese people can be forward in their questions, forceful in their actions, and present quite cold upon first meeting. But these are all tied to social status, the inability to flounder in such an enormous and competitive environment, and the constant social need to maintain faith. China is not perfect, nor is any nation, though this trip has justified to me their actions that are often viewed internationally as both controversial and/or incorrect. In such a large nation, survival is key and to prosper is the goal. The Chinese people are making every effort to achieve this goal for the greater good of their people and their nation.
Our last day in China on our BUSN3600 trip, we're finishing in Wuhan with CGGC, Chinese energy and manufacturing business. We're heading off tomorrow morning, nice and early. It's been phenomenal, we've learnt so much and I can't wait to reflect on it all once we get home.
I would like to extend an enormous thank you to the Australian Government in funding our immersion through the New Colombo Plan. The potential this holds for Australian students is immeasurable and advantageous to our nation's future. A great thanks to the University of Newcastle, Professor Hao Tan, and Dr. Paddy Johnson for making this opportunity possible through the Faculty of Business and Law. And an enormous thank you on behalf of the entire group to Jin Tao for so selflessly giving your time and personality to us. You provided enormous enrichment on the trip and we are so thankful. I'm inspired, I am intrigued, and I have clarity that international relations and diplomacy is the field for me. Thank you so much for the opportunity.